see much of it behind me at the moment, but it's because it's really foggy today for some reason. This is a new adventure for me. Haven't been to Helsinki before. Actually, the furthest north I've ever been. Further before this was Edinburgh, which is about 55 degrees north, and this is about 5 degrees further north than that. I've been further west with Kuwait City, but it's also the closest I've ever been to Russia, which is only about 300 miles, or probably about 1,000 kilometers, I think. Closest before that was about 800 miles when I was in Ankara. So I set myself a little challenge for this week. I'm here on work, and I'm probably not going to have a lot of time to get out and about, but I do have some free time today. And I've set myself a challenge. I'm going to try and film and edit this while I'm here in Finland on my iPad. I've never done that before using DaVinci Resolve. And also I'm going to be using my DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I'm not normally a tech review guy, I'm normally a book review and social commentary sort of guy. So, but I wanted to try this challenge for myself to see if I could do it. And this seemed like a good opportunity. New place, new experiences, and trying out something new to see if I can get this taken care of. But it's so foggy today, you can't really see anything. Eerie and creepy. It's kind of fitting. Orthodox Christian church. Amazing. One of the interesting things is that the languages that you see on the signs, you see Finnish, obviously, but you also see Swedish, you see Russian, and you see English, which is just interesting to see the way this country's has set itself up. It's been so dominated or oppressed by one of those three countries at some point, being part of Sweden at some point, being part of Russia at some point. Obviously, the winter war that they had prior to World War II, the World War II itself, then the great amount of pressure put on them by the Soviet Union during the Cold War, and now that they've gone into the EU and recently joined NATO, the shift that is happening with this country, how you can see that in the signage around. But there's still the connection to the old with this cathedral from 1868. It's not that old, but it's in the great scheme of Europe, being really old for the United States. Makes it interesting that they try and keep their own individual identity while working with the prevailing mood and culture that is being pushed on them from the outside. My wife was going to come out with me with her son. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it due to flights, but it would have been nice to have them here. One of the things she told me, though, was that she didn't like the architecture in Finland. She had been here before. She said she preferred the architecture in Sweden better. I haven't been to Sweden, so I don't know, but there is a squatness to some of the older buildings, and they definitely have the more brutalist style of the old Soviet and Russian influence on them as well, which is not understandable. I don't think it's horrible, though, and it seems to, I think it works in the context of the area that they're in. I mean, they're in on the water and fjords and the rough landscape, and the buildings sort of fit into that, coming out of the water up onto the slopes. Maybe I have to walk around a little bit more and see. I did a video from Paris a couple of weeks ago. One of the things I mentioned was locks on bridges, which I'd seen. And I don't know why, but this bridge here seems to be the bridge that everybody wants to put their locks onto to show their undying love for each other. And the oddest thing is actually, for me at least, that right there says I close Wolski's, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That's closer to me than Russia is right now when I'm back home in Chicago. And that's just, I'm walking through a park, and for some reason, strewn throughout the park, not like a single spot, but strewn throughout it, are headstones. So there's a church over there. And I think the church, this is a church park. But it's just weird that all the headstones are like not in a single spot. They're all over the place. Had a really good day walking around Helsinki yesterday. And I was told it was a good, easily walkable city. And it's true, it is. But one of the things that caught me about it was how small it felt, really, even though this is the capital city of Finland and there are over 600,000 people who live in the city. It didn't feel crowded or busy. Then I remember there's about 600,000 people in Washington, D.C., which is the capital of the United States. But that felt so crowded and busy and bustling when I visited there. And I was also reminded of the fact that a lot of countries in Europe, they only have one major city. Like here in Helsinki, there are other cities, obviously, in Helsinki, and they're very important. But this is the capital, the largest city, and it's economic and political and social hub. And there are a lot of other countries are the same. And I also remember that if my city of Chicago has almost 4 million people in it and like 9 million in the greater Chicago area. And if Illinois was its own country, it would have a larger GDP than Finland does. It would be a bigger country and have probably a bigger military with its National Guard, which is odd. But then I remember that Chicago is not the capital of the country. It's Washington, D.C., and New York is the economic capital. Los Angeles is the cultural capital, arguably. And it just puts an entire new concept to the thinking of how different the United States is from Europe, and that there can be these individual countries with their own culture and their own language that are so different from what I'm used to as an American. I'm very lucky today. The sun has come out. Actually, the last 2 days, the sun has come out after the fog on the first day. You get a chance to actually see Helsinki a little bit better down by the docks or the port of Helsinki. I was told that I needed to try while I was here. They mentioned cinnamon roll. This is a. I'll try it for a thing. Okay. Overall, I really liked Finland and Helsinki. It was nice. It was clean, not as grimy as it seemed in the fog. The people were very pleasant. They seemed very happy. They seemed safe and walkable. And I don't know if I would live here because of the weather issues, because it's going to get really cold in about a month. But I would definitely come back and visit at another time. The airport now. And one thing I forgot to mention is the goal I set for myself, which is to record and edit and post this thing while I'm here in Finland, and don't think I'm going to make that. I have worked on it. Yeah, about 2-3 minutes worth done. But as I'm at the airport, I don't think it's going to get finished before I get home. But I'm going to try and continue and finish it off on the iPad until I get home. I may get a chance to watch some of it in the airport. I'll see you all back in England.